So we would love to hear from you. Like anything you've seen, or heard in the last couple of weeks that inspired you or gave you hope, from Gaza.
Actually, this morning after Fajr, I watched this video. A few days back, there was a young boy, he's probably around maybe 4 years old, who was pulled out of the rubble after the building he was in was bombed, lost his family members. And I remember seeing the video of him. He was trembling on this hospital gurney, just covered in dust, blood, and he was just dazed, looking into the distance, shaking. And I was thinking how traumatizing that is. That's just like the amount of psychological trauma that kid endured uh, in that moment. I couldn't fathom. So this morning I saw a follow-up video of him. And subhanAllah, such a beautiful smile. He was smiling, and he was the guy behind the camera was asking him, what do you want to tell the people who are asking about you? Did you know? He was telling them, did you know millions of people in the world love you and we're asking about you, how you're doing? And he was saying, I tell them thank you. I thank them for caring about me. And subhanAllah, I was just thinking like, man, like if that is not that resilience of this next generation that's going to hold the banner of justice, hold true to the Palestinian heritage, I don't know what is. I mean, I a few days ago, I was thinking there's no turning back for this kid. Like this would have destroyed him. If not physically, it destroyed him mentally. But subhanAllah, bounce right back up. And not only that, have gratitude. That's one thing that you'll see time and again in these videos is that, the folks on the ground who are being oppressed, they say, Alhamdulillah. They're grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving them another day, for giving them whatever basic things that they have access to. So that was the most inspiring thing for me in the past couple of weeks.
That's amazing, man. SubhanAllah, it got me teared up a little bit.
For me, we talked about resilience. We talked about a population in which, the top and the flow of water and food and electricity is controlled by the occupation forces and all the wars that they've had to endure. And you would think that a people that go through that sort of level of trauma, that they, in which they don't have access to, tens of thousands of therapists to treat them for that level of trauma, which is unlike anywhere in the world. The reality of the situation is that as a people, they are their own therapists. Their community is a community of therapy. And that what people need to understand is that the people of Gaza, the people of the West Bank, the people of Palestine are the salt of the earth type people. They themselves comfort one another. They themselves look out for one another. They themselves help and aid and assist because there's no one else for them to lean on. It's literally a matter of survival. And so when they say, to exist is to resist. Just by living with dignity is to resist the occupation. And this is something that I find difficult. I didn't grow up in Gaza. I still find difficult to process in my mind because if one member of my family was killed in an airstrike, I don't know what I would do from a psychological perspective in terms of how much that would damage me in a very dark way. They go through families. Their families are being murdered. Not one, not two, entire families. And so that's a level of resilience that's unbelievable. It means that these people are a special type of people. And this is what gives me hope. I was speaking to my cousin, my first cousin from my uncle. They live in the north of Gaza, as I mentioned before. And when they were threatened to flee from their homes or else they would be killed, you have to understand that when you're doing that to 1.1 million people who already are living through a humanitarian crisis, and to tell them to do that in the middle of a war zone with no fuel, no food, it's just insanity. It's you know the outcome of that. The United Nations had to say that this will be a humanitarian catastrophe. It doesn't matter what the UN says. Israel ignores what they say, and they say this is what we're going to do, and tough luck. And the world obviously greenlights it. They packed my elderly uncles and aunts, whoever couldn't walk, into as many vehicles as they can, and they headed south because they were told it was going to be safe. My cousins would gather whatever belongings that they could, their children, many of whom are young. One of my cousins, 6 months pregnant, with little kids. And they walked 20 miles south through a war zone. It's not 20 miles south down St. Thomas Expressway, through a war zone, through along with a million other people trying to flee for their lives.
Yeah, and they're walking, you said.
And they're walking.
Oh.
And they don't, it's not like you walk for an hour.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know, I have kids. And I went to Mariposa Grove, and we had to walk, we had to hike for a long time. And you see how much they complain, right? I'm tired, it's tough, it's difficult. Imagine taking care of 30 kids who were with them, in which they had to take turns lifting them on their shoulders and walking, not for an hour, not for two, like for 6 to 8 hours. It was a whole day. It was a whole day of them doing this trek.
And by the end of that walk, it's not like there's 100% certainty that they're good, right? It's still like an uncertain element, right? It's like, whoa, are we?
They don't even know where they're going.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
So it's not like, and there's like, there'll be humanitarian aid there, and there'll be water there, and there'll be food. There's populations in the hundreds of thousands living in the areas that they're evacuating to. So now you're overpopulating an area in which there's no guarantees. And so when we were speaking to him on the phone, he was recounting to us, there's no food, there's no water. We're taking shelter in a UN school. We're so large of a family, we had to split up. My aunts and uncles who have diabetes or other ailments couldn't be in the school because imagine, they were telling us, 40 people in one classroom, not just 40 people in a classroom sitting. They have whatever their mattresses, they're trying to, and these classrooms are tiny classrooms. Said there isn't even enough mattresses for everyone to sleep on. We take turns. One person sleeps on the ground and the other person sleeps on a mattress that's just there. There's no food. There's no water. My cousin went to the market and he's saying 200 meters away, there was an airstrike. 5 minutes earlier, he would have been gone. And he says they're hitting the marketplaces. They just destroyed the only bakery, the only large-scale bakery in Gaza, they destroyed. This level of collective punishment is insane. But to go to your point in terms of inspiration, the inspiration is when I hear from him his desperate cries for trying to figure out how to feed and how to find water for the people that are in his care, including up to 30 children. That till now, they're still going around and helping other people. And this goes back to what I was saying about Palestinians being the most resilient people on the face of this earth. And that
so they're not even thinking about themselves. Like
no,
not whatsoever.
No, you can't. They know that they're all in this together. They know that they've been living this together for 75 years. And they know now that if they don't take care of one another, literally the occupation forces would have won. Because the only objective is to break the Palestinian people. It's to break that resilience. 75 years they haven't been able to do that. So they think if we just absolutely destroy neighborhood after neighborhood after neighborhood, make people flee their homes, give them fear that they'll never come back home. And that is looking like now maybe a reality, that they'll never be able to come back to their homes. That maybe finally now that we will break them and they'll just give up. But they don't. And the reason they don't is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses them with resilience. And this is, I have nothing to teach the people of Gaza and the people of the West Bank. The only thing I can do is learn from them. They can teach the entire world anything about humanity, perseverance, resistance, caring for one another.
Dignity and honor.
Absolutely.
There was this video I saw of two boys. I think they might have been brothers or relatives, and maybe you guys saw this video. But they were young boys, kids. One of them was like done, khalas, was hospital, wrapped up, like the kid was dying. The other kid is a couple years older. They could have been like 5 and 8 or maybe 7 and 10, I don't know, but young boys. That older kid, who could have been like his brother or relative or something, was telling him, and I'm paraphrasing because it's been a while and I didn't go back to the video, because he was telling him, hey, say the shahada. Ashhadu. You saw that video? He's telling him, bro, he's boys. He's like, ashhadu, and he's helping him. And the guy's like dying. He goes, ashhadu. He goes, Ali sotak, ya zalama. He's like, raise your voice. Say it louder.
Subhanallah, man.
And this is a boy, man, telling another boy who's dying to say the shahada.
Subhanallah.
I saw this video and I was like, this, however old he is, this 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old boy is more of a man than I'll ever be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than I'll ever be.
Absolutely.
And I was just like, dude, I'm literally nothing. I can't do this. I put my phone down. I was like,
does anyone remember? Does anyone remember COVID when we first started hearing about the shutdowns, and everybody, including myself, ran to the supermarkets, and I'm just finding there's nothing on the shelf, and I'm trying to put as many things inside my shopping basket and everything, and I'm going, and everyone is everywhere, and it's insanity, and you're hearing like music playing, which is like surreal. I felt like I was out of a movie, and this is when we're tested. This is what people here do when they have fear. But when they have fear, they don't react like that. When they have fear, they approach it with a level of dignity and honor that you don't find anywhere on this earth.
It's the epitome of community, right? Because we're used to, in this day and age, that individualism. It's all about me and my family. Let me rush, go get the last bathroom tissue rolls, right? What about my neighbor, right? And there are examples of what a true community is. Oh, you lost a family member. Well, I'm still here. You're my family, right? They're all one big family. And
They're not thinking tomorrow. It's like now.
Exactly.
I have enough food to feed all of us now. That's what we'll do right now.
And you know what I've been constantly reminded of is, the Prophet ﷺ tells us, if you see the end in front of you, day of judgment, and you have a seedling, plant the seed.
Yeah.
Plant the seedling. That's what they're doing. Those are the examples in my mind. And subhanAllah, it's like what Rami's saying, we have so much to learn. And that's why the authentic leadership, the guiding light is going to come from there.
Absolutely.
And that's why we can't lose hope. That's why 10, 20, 30 years from now, inshallah, that generation, very talented, very actually intelligent. You talk to people from Palestine, they're not like simplistic in their thinking. They're very intelligent, and you have this capacity to tap into that drive, that passion, and you give them something. You uplift them with knowledge and experience, and they're going to revolutionize the earth, to improve the earth and the world. And so that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about, inshallah, when oppression leaves that area, it's going to be it's going to bloom into something beautiful. It's like a wildfire that takes out a mountainside. And then the next spring comes and you see those beautiful little seedlings come up and those flowers, and it gives you that joy that it's not, it's not all, all that's lost is not for nothing.
Muhammad talked about 70% unemployment youth rate, right? In Gaza in 2018, that's why it was deemed by the UN to be an unlivable place. So you think to yourself, oh, 70% youth unemployment. Is it because they're not educated? Is it because, people of Gaza don't care about getting any sort of education, or maybe they only care about getting food, money? What? No, their levels of education are extremely high. It's not 70% unemployment because they don't have any education. It's 70% unemployment because there's zero opportunities. There are universities in Gaza. There are women that are graduating at some points more than men in certain fields out of university. Even though, and this is the resilience, even though they know that there'll most likely be zero to no opportunities. They could be doing anything else. But because,
And
again,
working on 4 hours of electricity every day.
There's organizations that have sprung up to try to uplift small organizations, but doing amazing work in the high tech industry, because that's where I work. Gaza Sky Geeks and Manara Tech, who look to, because computer science, when you're learning computer science, right? When I went to university, there was labs. I could buy my own computer. I can code. They don't have laptops and computers and MacBooks. They literally are solving computer science equations on pieces of paper.
SubhanAllah.
And so these organizations like Manara Tech and Gaza Sky Geeks take Palestinian graduates. They have to be graduates. And at times, 50% of them are women enrolled in these programs. And they partner with companies like Google and other startups to employ them remotely. They mentor them and they set them up for interviews with these high-tech organizations, and they end up hiring them. And they have like an amazing hiring rate. And sometimes they stay within Gaza, and sometimes they go outside of Gaza to go work for these companies. That's amazing. That's so uplifting.
It's amazing.
Like Muhammad was saying, like literally they're just waiting for their opportunity to just burst and show the world what they're made out of. But they're being robbed from these opportunities by the occupation.
That's the video that touched me the most in the last few days was this man. They uncovered like a body that's been under the rubble for a few days, and he said, "Wallahi, I've never smelled musk before." And he opens it and he pulls out the hand, and it's like it's soft, still warm, and he kisses it, and he says, "Wallahi, na'iman like a shahada." This is what shahada is like, and I saw that, I was like, subhanallah, man, they're living, they're not dead. Subhanallah, these people are living. And the other story of this, one night I was trying to go to sleep, and it hit me that people in Gaza can't go to sleep because it's just these bombs are dropping all the time. These children, like as a dad, what do I tell my children? Like, like you're gonna be okay. I can't tell him that because he might not be okay. Like 2 days ago, like our neighbor is not here, right? So. And it just kept me up, and literally the next day, this sister sends a voice message that went viral, and she's talking about her kids slept all night through all the bombings, and saying, I don't know how, like Allah made them sleep. Like she's like, and I remember like Allah is with them, right? And then she said even her 3-year-old came to her and said, Mom, I want to die. And she's like, why would you say that? She said, because I want to go up. It's like, where did he get that from? I don't even know where he got that from, subhanAllah. So, they're another level, man, like altogether, even spiritually, like they're a whole another level. And she was like, don't worry about us. We're fine. Like, we're good. Like we're worried about you guys. Like, I was like, so, I guess the question I have is, are they more resilient? We're a mess. It looks like we're the mess. They're okay. SubhanAllah. They're not in the sense that, this injustice, but like from a spiritual point of view, it seems like mashallah, like they're a wall, and we are the ones who are really a big mess. Is this true?
So first of all, this is absolutely true. And one of the reasons why this is true is because there's no intercession. There's a direct fiber optic line for the dua of the oppressed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like super highway, straight to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, answered, no questions asked. And so I was listening to a sheikh of mine who was talking about his teacher. His teacher would always never make dua in general, against all oppressors. And so he would ask him, like, why wouldn't you do that? Isn't like they're causing problems? He's like, no. I'll make dua against specific oppressors by name. But I won't make dua against all oppressors because I can't guarantee that I didn't oppress anyone. And so therefore, I can't make dua against myself.
Subhanallah.
And so you can agree with that, not agree, but like you see how much that person is in tune with the fact that he's trying to do what's right and understand that he's human and he makes mistakes. And so imagine the dua of the people that are oppressed, not just for 1 year or because of one situation, but non-stop, generations and generations. The dua of a child who has done nothing wrong, imagine. And so this is where I realize I'm a mess. And this is when I realize when I'm speaking to my cousins on the phone in Gaza and they're under bombardment, and my aunts and my uncles, wallahi alladhi la ilaha illahu, they tell me, you could think I wish I was exaggerating. They tell me, we're okay. We're more worried about you because we know that you're worried about us because you're not here.
Subhanallah.
And the problem is we know what's happening on the ground. Probably better than they even do because they don't have access to internet or electricity. Yeah. And it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So absolutely we're a mess. And absolutely they are at least have a level of dignity and patience that's unparalleled because their dua is answered 100% by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala every single time they make dua.